There's a slew of new players that are going to be playing right back there here in just a matter of months. We're going to take a look at the first one, Mecole Hardman out of Georgia. Welcome back to RGR. I'm Ryan, and this is me going rogue at the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, and all things related. This draft process has been a huge run. Thank you for everybody who checked out the Athletic Matrix, as well as Locked On Chiefs and everything else. I am brought to you today by Insurance Incorporated, and they do everything that can insure you for auto, home, life, travel, even pets. They're a local company in Shawnee that wants to take care of you. So if you need to be insured for any reason, give them a call at Insurance Inc. Now, that said, we've got a ton to look at Mecole Hardman, and I am trying to get his name right. It was Mecole, now it's Mecole. It's going to be a challenge. We're going to work through it. But what he is a speed receiver that's a downfield threat. And with all the drama going on with Tyreek Hill, he's definitely bringing an aspect of Hill's game back to the Chiefs' active roster. Now, I know there's been news about Hill and all that. I'm not going to address that here. We're talking about the draft pick. And he is a guy that the Chiefs desperately wanted. In fact, so much so that they traded up to get him. He was the top receiver on their board, above players like Paris Campbell, who I had rated ahead of him, but has a very similar game. Debo Sweeney, as well as A.J. Brown, were both guys that weren't quite the downfield threat, but they're about the same size, worked out of the slot and from the outside, can do a little bit of everything. Hardman is definitely a guy that's going to stretch this field. He's got enough shake to him, although he doesn't quite live up to the athletic profile of Tyreek Hill. In fact, let's take a look at Mecole Hardman's athletic profile here from the Matrix. And you can see that on a scale of roughly 100, although every year there's somebody that breaks that, he's pushing the limits as Tyreek Hill did. Hill's actual short area quickness is above the 100 threshold, but Hardman brings 99% in terms of measurability. What he lacks is experience on the field and the diversity with how he was used in college. Doesn't have the same route tree. He does do a little bit of work behind the line of scrimmage, although not near as much as Hill does in the Chiefs offense. Can go across the middle, can do those deep crossers and that kind of thing, but is really meant to be stretching that field vertically. And it's something that I think is going to pay off for this team. Now, he's got some work to do, maybe a little bit of release work, definitely cleaning up routes, making those transitions and cuts cleaner, deeper, in order to shake loose the coverage. But I think he's a guy that's going to be able to do that. And I think he's a guy that's going to have to go kind of quickly, grow into the Chiefs' offense here. We don't know what's going to happen with Tyreek Hill, but this is going to be Mecole Hardman, probably a guy that they were targeting before any of this, because the draft process started much earlier than the news about Tyreek Hill. So the process for the Chiefs front office and the scouts was already well ahead of itself. In fact, we should probably hear from some of them.
Talk about our 3 picks tonight in the second round with the 56th pick. Mecole Hardman from Georgia should come in here and provide an immediate impact and should see the field soon. Certainly with Mecole, I mean, everyone knows about his speed, his return ability.
Why did you find necessary to trade up for Mecole?
Yeah, so when we were looking at the board, I think we were sitting there at 61. And it was funny because we had a lot of action, a lot of phone calls at 61. And we were looking at the board, and again, never going to pass up speed. And when you looked at the wideouts, there was still a lot of good wideouts left, but none that ran 4.27. So, we got approached for a fifth-round pick. I think it was the Rams, a small move, and the teams that were picking before us, we didn't think that they'd go wide out, but I thought there were a few teams that might want to trade up and get in because we had taken a lot of calls. And so we ended up making the move, and then we came back at 63 and called those teams back that were calling us at 61, and they said they weren't interested in trading anymore. So I think we kind of played those cards right, and then scouts talk, and sure enough, those teams had said they were looking at Hardman too. So I think we made the right calculated guess there. You kind of see how the board's fallen and how those wideouts are falling.
Andy said he might be either return in the class. Did Dave agree? I know Dave does some of that. Especially.
No. Dave had the biggest smile in the room. We actually there was a few returners that we had Dave go out, and he does that every year. He came back and he said, Mecole he thought was the closest thing to Devin Hester that he'd seen in a long time. So he was ecstatic, and he's by far the best punt and kick returner in the draft. And again, it's hard to turn down that kind of speed when you have a quarterback like Pat Mahomes. You want to give him as many weapons as possible.
In regard to Hardman, where's he at development-wise as a receiver?
Yeah. So, at Georgia, they run the football a lot. And so there are some technical aspects that I think, he needs to work on. And, the stats, again, aren't similar to a team, someone that played at a passing offense like a Texas Tech or an Oklahoma. But I think you see all the skills that you need to see. I mean, he is smooth in and out of breaks. He has great transitional quickness. And then he can just run. I mean, you can't coach speed. I mean, you can coach a lot of things. And our coaching staff does a great job of getting receivers and getting the most out of them. But at the end of the day, you can either run or you can't run. And he can, he has something that you can't coach. So his ability to take a simple bubble screen 80, 90 yards is exciting. His ability to flip field positions on the kick return game and the punt return game is exciting. So I'm sure Coach Reid will have a lot of fun with him.
One thing I want to ask you about is going from last year to the year before and seeing sort of the development in year 2 to year 3. Just were there differences that you saw, or were there just more consistency on tape based on the way Georgia was utilizing it?
Yeah, I think as far as Mecole, I think you could see the growth, and they used him a lot in the return game, and then he grew in the routes that they gave him, the responsibility they gave him, because they put him more in the slot, and then they put him a little bit more outside, so they moved him around a little bit more this year versus his younger years. But you could see him grow as a player, and he did a good job with it. Yeah, Andy's outstanding, and he's at the top of people doing it. But what you can see him do is some reverse stuff. You can see him do some other, quick screen, all those type of things. Like not as complex as the things that we do with other guys, but the basis of we know we can work on the screen game. We know we can work on reverses. We see him running the vertical stuff, running goes, running posts, running corners. So he has all those routes that we can see him get down the field and make plays down the field, but at the same time doing that quick stuff, get the ball in his hands quick and have him make plays. So there's a lot of ability there with him. That's why we like him so much. Yeah, I think, he has some things that you guys know that not many people have. And with his burst and explosion and ability to get out of the breaks, you can always work. There's teachable things and unteachable things. And speed, burst, and quickness are things that we can't teach or we can't coach. But we can teach a guy how to get out of his routes, how to stem routes, how to work on some routes that he hasn't done before. And he's got the ability. And the thing you like about him, if you guys haven't met him already, he's got great energy and he loves the game of football. So with the coaching staff that we have, and his personality and his work ethic, I think he'll be on the road for success.
So that gives you an idea of what the Chiefs saw in Mecole Hardman. Something that I saw as well. I had him a little bit further down than where he was selected, but a guy that definitely could stretch the field. And it was in my top 4 in athleticism, in somebody that can come in and make a difference, make a physical difference on the field immediately. And because that's a large part of his game, I don't think the transition is going to be quite as stiff for him because he can rely on that physical ability. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be looking forward to what happens in OTAs and just how they start to sprinkle Mecole Hardman in. It'll be in a rotation, but I expect him to really push for the wide receiver 2 spot right away with Sammy Watkins taking over the 1 in the absence of Tyreek Hill. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like what you're seeing, give me that thumbs up. Click the subscription as well as the little bell notification so you know when a new video goes up. But also, you'll know when the lives go up because I do live Q&As every Monday night so that you can ask your questions and we can talk about the topic of the week. We've got roughly 3 months before we can start to settle down and get ready for camp, so these Q&A sessions are going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys will join and spread the word for more Chiefs fans. I appreciate your time. Let me know what you think of Mecole Hardman and how he might fit in the comments, and I'll talk to you next time.